Hello there, vinyl community people, all my music-loving friends. Yeah, I've been out for a couple weeks, out with a nasty cold, a man cold, as my wife Patty would call it. I'm just seeking some empathy from her. I didn't get a lot. So sad, but a man cold, as any of you that have experienced this condition, can be quite severe, but I'm through it. Anyway, just kind of run down after the holiday and pick that up, but I've kicked it. So anyway, I'm entering a contest today. Christian over at CGC, vinyl guy. Interesting, I feel like I just entered a contest for Christian last week. Guy has a lot of contests, and as everybody who watches my channel knows, I just wrapped up my first contest, but Christian's having another one. This is his 1 year anniversary in the vinyl community, and really interesting theme with this one. It's 365 genres, meaning of course 365 days in the year, but he wants you to show, or me, three records of one genre, 6 of another, and 5 of another one, lastly. So I'm going to do that. Some stuff here that you'll probably be surprised based on what I usually show in my videos, but I've got pretty broad tastes. A lot of this stuff I'm going to show today was stuff I bought back in the 80s and the 90s. I was a little younger. And anyway, I better get going on this because I got a show around 13 records. But anyway, here we go. So yeah, Chris over at Chris from Record Talk, I think is what his channel is called. He showed some disco, and I was inspired. So I was like, hey, why not? So of course this is the Tramps, and this is called Where the Happy People Go. They look pretty happy here. They're hanging out. Yeah, outdoor living room, if you will, with a little bonfire. Why not? And those suits. But anyway, yeah, this is pure straight up disco. It's 1976. Some of the key tracks on this one: Disco Party, Hook for Life, and Love is a Funky Thing. So that's the Tramps, Where the Happy People Go. It's number 1. Number 2, the disco genre. We got KC and the Sunshine Band. It's the greatest hits. Don't normally show a lot of greatest hits, but for the purpose of this video, why not? This was called together in 1980 is the date on this one. And you can see on the back, there's some pictures of the band. There's KC. I'm not sure what KC stood for, what his initials were. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the music, and you've got some pretty good tracks on this, actually. I'm Your Boogeyman, Get Down Tonight, Sound Your Funky Horn, and That's the Way I Like It. It's the way KC likes it. It's KC and the Sunshine Band, greatest hits, 1980, the release date on that one. And lastly, in the disco genre, no, I've never seen this one in the vinyl community. It's Van McCoy. Van McCoy was like a soul singer, producer guy, and then he jumped on the disco bandwagon in 1975 and created an anthem as a result for the whole disco genre. It's The Hustle right there, track 3, side 1. And there's some other good stuff on here. Doctor's Orders, Hey Girl, Come and Get It, Pick Up the Pieces. And there's a cover on here of Ohio Players' song called Fire. I'm a big fan of the Ohio Players. Not showing it in this video today, but I have shown the Ohio Players, I think, before. But again, it's Van McCoy and the Soul City Symphony, and it's called Disco Baby, 1975, the release on that one. All right, shifting gears, as we do in the genres, going to move into some reggae beats. It's Augustus Pablo. He played this instrument. It's called a melodica. I think this is the name of that thing. And on this one, though, it's a collaboration. Excuse me, remnants of that man cold. This was released in 1976 with King Tubby, who was a big dub guy. So King Tubby, most all instrumental stuff, but he came in and the two of them collaborated on this. And it's called King Tubby Meets Rockers Uptown. And again, 1976, the release on this one. Yeah, some of the key tracks on this one: Sata Dub, spelled S-A-T-T-A, Dub, 555 Dub Street, Keep on Dubbin', and Stop Them Jaw. There's the track listing on the back. And yeah, 1976, the release for that one. Yeah, great stuff. All right. Seen this one a couple of times. People have shown this one in various videos in the vinyl community, and it's Jimmy Cliff. It's a movie soundtrack he did. The Harder They Come, released in 1972. This would have been considered, I think, his 3rd or 4th studio record. But some great moments on this. Of course, everybody knows you can get it if you really want. Rivers of Babylon's a great track on this. Of course, The Harder They Come, the title track of the film. Johnny Too Bad, and Pressure Drop's another really good one on this. So yeah, you can see it's a gatefold sleeve. There's a bunch of cool photos on the inside of Jimmy Cliff, and it's The Harder They Come, and we're in the reggae genre. We're in the middle right here. All right, one of my favorite artists of all time. I've got everything. I'm a completist. It's Bob Marley and the Wailers, of course. This is Rastaman Vibration. It's his 8th studio release. Again, 1976. Great year for music, obviously. So, of course, the title track on this one. No, it's not the title track. It's just called Positive Vibration. Roots Rock Reggae is another one. Crazy Bald Head. That could be me. Rat Race. That's another good one. And Night Shift. Yeah, this is really great. And it's just on the back. You can see some liner notes. And, of course, there's Bob. It's the Rastaman Vibration. Number 3 in the disco reggae genre. Reggae Man. All right. And where are we at here? Oh, yeah. We're here. There's Toots and the Maytals. This is their third studio release. This is 1973, the release on this one. It's called Funky Kingston. Really great record. I got this in a collection I picked up a couple of years ago from a work colleague. And this was buried deep in the collection, and it's great. It's quite expensive on Discogs. I think this is going for around $35-40 right now if you've got one in good condition, which this one is, other than the writing in the corner here. But yeah, of course, Funky Kingston, the title track on this one, does a cool cover of Louie Louie on here. And there's another version of Pressure Drop. That was a Freddie Hibbert song that I mentioned earlier on the Jimmy Cliff album I just showed. So, and Pump and Pride's another good one. And that's another Freddie Hibbert composition. But yeah, Toots and the Maytals, Funky Kingston. Reggae. All right. Another Jamaican man. It's Desmond Dekker right here. This is a collection. This came out in the early 2000s. Of course, the Israelites was one of his big songs. This is a collection culled from 1963 to 1971, and it's stacked full. It's got 25 tracks. Mind you, that it's 25 on one CD, but the songs are all really short. They're all 2.5, 3-minute numbers. So these were all culled from his stuff again from the 60s up to 1971. And they were on a label called Trojan, not to be confused with the Birth Control. And again, it's Israelites, because that was one of his biggest songs. That's the name of the collection. It's just the best of Desmond Dekker. And some of the other songs on there, you can get it if you really want. That's a Jimmy Cliff cover. Reggae Recipe, Beautiful and Dangerous, Mount Zion. Look any of those tracks up. Really good. And 007, Shantytown. 007 like James Bond. Really good. Best of Desmond Dekker. Was a talented guy. All right, and lastly in the reggae genre, Steel Pulse. This was a compilation on the Island label. Island had a lot of reggae acts on that label, still do. This is 1997. I would have bought this right when it came out, and it's a double CD on the inside here. You can see that. And what have we got here? There's some nice liner notes on the inside. There's a picture of the band right there. And yeah, it's again like a double compilation, just a bunch of notes on the inside. So some of the key tracks on this one, of course, yeah, I got the cover on here. Handsworth Revolution, Macasplaff, Babylon Makes the Rules. That's a great one. Reggae Fever, and Prodigal Son, and what else? One more on here that I'm missing. Heart of Stone. So yeah, that's Steel Pulse, and that's Sound System is the name of this compilation, and it's the Island Anthology. It's also known as, if you look it up. So yeah, 2-disc set. All right. Well, we're really shifting gears. That's why I'm digging this this contest, Christian. It forced me to dig and try, and just instead of showing the usual stuff that I do, typical genres. But our tastes change with age, and it's good to revisit some of this stuff. Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil. This is their second studio album. Of course, this last five records I'm going to show, or 5 albums, is going to be all heavy metal. So yeah, arguably, these guys are kings of the hair band genre, but they're heavy metal. This is still, they're really kicking out the jam still on this second album. And again, it's called Shout at the Devil. There's the pentagram in the middle. Don't be scared. It's just Motley Crue. There they are on the inside. Yeah, that just screams 1983, doesn't it? But Shout at the Devil, the title track on this, looks the kill, Bastard. Well, it's 10 Seconds to Love. That's another good one too. And Too Young to Fall in Love. You can see this was a Canadian pressing. I bought this in high school. And it's Shout at the Devil, Motley Crue, 1983. All right. Off to Germany we go. It's the Scorpions, Virgin Killer. This would have been their 4th studio release in 1976. Uli John Roth was still in the band, playing guitar there. He was in the middle. He later left. Apparently there was another cover of this album, and it was kind of a Spinal Tap situation. It was in bad taste, and they switched up the cover and just put These Hoodlums on the cover. There they are again on the back. And just it's solid. It's really early Scorpions. I'm a big fan. Probably one of the best concerts I ever saw was the Scorpions. I saw them much later, 1990, 91 on the Tease Me, Please Me tour. It was a really good show. And, you know, Klaus Meine, I've heard seen a few people showing that new release. And he's 73 now, that one that just came out this past year. I haven't bought it yet, but I'm probably going to pick that up. I don't know if it's on vinyl or just compact disc. Everyone that I've seen shown in the vinyl community has been on compact disc. I think Gary over at Physical Format did a bit on it, and it's intriguing. And I went and I looked up a couple of the tracks on YouTube, and it's really good. They sound better than ever. Of course, there's been some personnel changes, but this was one of the original lineups right here, and some of the key tracks on this one. Hellcat, that's a Uli John Roth composition. A lot of these songs were written by Uli John Roth, and and Rudolf Schenker, and Klaus Meine, Backstage Queen. That's another good one right there. There they are on the back. Party Time with the Scorpions, Virgin Killer, and again the release date on that one, 1976. And just as a quick side note, just Uli John Roth, who had left. This is a double album called Electric Sun. I'm not looking for extra points for this one, Christian. I just thought it was cool. I haven't pulled this out in probably 25, 30 years. Probably going to give this a listen later on, but it's mostly instrumental stuff on this. But he was a very experimental guitar player and left the Scorpions and did his own thing. And it's Uli John Roth. That's Electric Sun. That's a 2 CD set. All right, moving into the 90s here. It's for a little stoner rock in Southern California. It's In Search of Fu Manchu. This is their 3rd release, 1996, like I said. There they are with a couple of muscle cars on the front, you know, and there's some hot chick in the middle going to start a drag race in the desert, it looks like. This is a whole subgenre of metal called stoner rock. It's not drone metal, it's just burner kind of stoner rock, and it's good. Some of the key takeaways on this one: Cyclone Launch, Regal Beagle is the opening track. It's really good. And Super Shooter closes it out, and that's a good one too. But let's see what's on the inside, if there's any picture of the band or anything. Yeah, there's the band on the inside, and that's Fu Manchu. I think they're from San Diego. They're still active. And again, that's In Search Of. That's released in 1996. Really good. Almost at the end here of this heavy metal genre. 2 to go. I'm trying to keep my time down here. I'm at 13 minutes. I'm trying to keep this. It's a contest entry, not one of my usual. So it's Motorhead. Of course, this is their 9th studio album. It's 1987. It's called Rock and Roll. I bought this my freshman year of university and played the hell out of it in the dorm. Party with this one. Again, it's called Rock and Roll, so that's what it's all about. So yeah, right from the opening, Rock and Roll, the title track. They just come in hard. Eat the Rich, Blackheart, Stone Deaf in the USA, and side 2 is just more of the same. All For You and Boogeyman are great tracks too. And there's of course the personnel on the back. There's a couple of these guys are no longer with us. Of course, Lemmy's gone. Phil Taylor's out. Passed, gone, dead, left this world, if you will. And it's Rock and Roll. That's Motorhead. Really good, solid. All right, and lastly, this is one I've never seen in the vinyl community. Tried to show some stuff today that we normally don't see, and I hope I've accomplished that in this video. This is Circus of Power. These guys were from New York City. They should have been from LA. It sounds like they were, but they weren't. They're originally actually from Brooklyn. And this kind of plays like it's heavy metal, but it's also kind of a little like the Cult Sonic Temple when they did that first album with Rick Rubin. It's not Sonic Temple, Electric, I take that back. The Electric album with Rick Rubin. This kind of has that kind of vibe to it, but it's heavier. It's like sleaze rock, if you will. And again, here's some photos on the band. And they only did this one, and I think they had a follow-up. I don't have it. This is good, though. It's not great, but it's still pretty listenable. You know, you're rocking back a couple of pints. and get your party on. And that's what heavy metal is all about. And so if you want to look up some of the tracks on this, White Trash Queen is good, Motor's excellent, and Machine closes out the record, and that's actually a really good song too. Another one I haven't listened to in a very long time, but I may give this a spin later today, and it's Circus of Power, closing out the heavy metal genre. And this is 365 for CGC, the vinyl guy, and that's Christian. Come on over to his channel, subscribe. I mean, he's had, like I said, several contests, and he keeps getting bumped up. He's going to hit that 800 number soon by the looks of things. I'm good on him for doing it. So this is my contest entry, 365 genre contest for Christian. Good luck, Christian, in the contest. And I'll see you on the other side, folks.